Oh, yes, yes. Please do come in. Let me get this Northstar started up for you guys here. I'm very excited to get this bad boy out on the road. Welcome to one of my all-time most favorite cars ever made, honestly. Good old 2004 Cadillac Deville DHS. Actually, the more astute viewers would know about last year, I actually drove the DTS version. Now it's the DHS version. And why am I driving this again? No particular reason. I just like it. So we're gonna get this out on the road. But first of all, who do we have to thank for this opportunity? It is none other than Cary Imports in Cary, North Carolina, of course. So like always, their information will be down in the description box below in case you want to pick this bad boy up for a little under $5,000, about $4,600. So it's all yours in all of its glory. So, okay, jokes aside, a lot of people, they like this car for the same reasons I do. Everybody on Sopranos had one, and it's one of the more pimp cars you can get for like $4,000. There's not anything more pimping than this, and this particular one does have about 160,000 miles on it, which we'll talk about more in the on the drive here. But if you're like a high school student, college student, you're looking at this to be like your first car, you think you're gonna put a bunch of your lady friends in the back and all of that. Yeah, there's a few things you should probably know about this. This is not the epitome of quality or reliability or any of those things. If you're going to buy from this dealership, I would highly advise you maybe getting a warranty with this if you want to keep it for about 3 to 4 years. But honestly, the best way that this is purchased, I know there's a lot of Cadillac enthusiasts and freaks out there. They're going to light me up on the forums. Go ahead, have fun with that. But the reality is, for normal people anyway, this is not the most pragmatic thing that you can put your money into. Basically, you buy this for fun. Basically, this is like a toy car for you. If it goes wrong, you just light it on fire and you move about your life. You know what I'm saying? You do need some more disposable income to kind of drive something like this. That's in my opinion. I know there's going to be some Cadillac freaks that are like, oh, but I have 700,000 miles on it and I never had an issue. I just changed the oil on. God bless you. Good for you. How about that? Good for you. But the more normal people out there, let's just get this out there. We all just want to enjoy it for what it is, right? So let's just get this out there. Honestly, I drove the DTS. I actually, driving wise, I actually do like this car. A lot of you probably think this thing is junk, but honestly, this thing drives better than you would think. But that was a DTS model. This is a DHS model. There's some differences. The DTS is the sports sedan, bro. That's a racing version. The balls they have, right? But yeah, it's a more sportier version. It's got the slightly more stiffer suspension, like the mag, right? All that stuff, and it's got 17-inch wheels as opposed to the 16-inch wheels that you get on this particular vehicle. Slightly less horsepower here as well. It's about 275 horsepower out of this wonderful Northstar. And it's 275, about 300 pounds-feet of torque. I think the DTS had about 300 horsepower. Honestly, the DTS, it definitely did move. And but this is supposed to be the more plush cruiser, all that good stuff. Good thing is the brakes work. That's very nice. This thing weighs about 4,000 pounds, a little over that. It's about 207 inches long. This thing is a big body car for real. I mean, no wonder everybody in The Sopranos had this car, because you can fit bodies in the trunk for real. So that's impressive. Good old 4-speed transmission, kicking down when I need it to. This 4-speed reacts better than some of the newer stuff, like the 8 speeds and all that crap. I will say, if you go back and you watch my DTS review, probably see that the entire interior is all creaked and rattled out. It held up horribly. I forgot how many miles that thing had on it, but this thing has held up a lot better, but it's just not perfect by any means. I'll talk more about that in the interior segment, but what I'm saying? In the DTS, you could really bust a move in that thing. You'd be surprised. That thing handled way better than what people give it credit for. I'll be honest with you. But, this is like a flagship luxury car for America. This thing has a lot of features and stuff that you would be surprised that it has. I mean, I think the DTSs came with like night vision, all that stuff. And DHS, being the more luxury trim model, there is a... Forgive me for that. Very sorry about that. Oh yeah, she definitely rolls. But yeah, DHS, what I'm saying? Go for that luxury. All right, let's slow down there. No, it's definitely not the fastest thing in the world, that's for sure. But you keep putting your foot down there. That Northstar will kind of give you what you need, right? DTS definitely did feel a little bit quicker to me, but not by a whole lot. But definitely a little bit quicker. power, speed. That's not what you buy this thing, dude. Like, this thing has infinite amounts of charm to it. That's why people like me, idiots like me, are attracted to it. It's just, you know, the new Cadillacs, you know, they got their own little swagger, but it's not like this. This was just quintessential. This is what people thought about in their minds when Cadillac came to mind. You know, like a big, sloppy, 207 inches long Cadillac, you know what I'm saying, built for comfort. This thing's got 16-inch wheels. I'm noticing it's definitely riding a little bit better, but I'll take it more on these more trash bumps here in a little bit. Steering isn't as sloppy as you might think. There's a slight deadness in the center here, but it's definitely not bad overall. And everything on here works, you know what I'm saying? There's no stupid check engine lights, nothing like that. Everything works. Brakes, you need to get in on them a little bit, but they definitely do bring this behemoth to a stop. It's not an issue. So it's what you would expect, man. It's your classic luxury car in the traditional sense, and this one has zero sporting intentions at all, but I kind of like it for that thing. I mean, you pull up in this thing, everybody loves you for it. Nobody hates you for driving around in a Cadillac Deville. It's just classic stuff, man, and that's what I'm saying. If you want to daily drive something like this, you know, have a more reliable car on the side, but, you know, have your fun with this thing. Pull up, have your fun with your friends. This is actually a 6-seater, you know what I'm saying? You can put this thing up, and you actually can put 3 people in the front here. Admittedly, it's not super comfortable, but, you know, you can make it work in the middle. Definitely likes to roll, that's for sure. It feels way smaller than it is. It's a pretty massive car, but it feels way smaller. It's very easy to kind of drive this. It's a lot of fun to drive this car. There's a lot of glass with this thing. I don't like the side mirrors in this thing because it's a little too skinny for me, but for the most part, it still does a job. You know, it's not too bad. Again, you got plenty of glass. You can see all around you. No double pane glass with this thing, but it is actually reasonably quiet, of course. It's only got like 225 wide tires in this thing. It's relatively quiet in here. You know, that's a good thing. Despite it not having double pane glass, it's still a pretty quiet experience. There's not a whole lot of tire noise, not a whole lot of wind noise, nothing like that, so that's very good. There's like that slight little bit of slop in the middle there in the steering, but once you get over that, it's actually a really good steering system for the most part, for what this is. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do you expect? What do you want out of this thing? I will say, if you want to be impressed, the DTS impresses, man. That thing, I did not expect it to, you know, handle that well or go that well. That was actually a shock to me how well that car pulled and went. I'm assuming the DTS is the mobile for sure, because you can definitely bust a move in that thing, definitely take some corners at a higher bit of speed there. This vehicle, it's definitely more so for cruising. I can already tell that. And being the smaller wheels, that's definitely helping with the ride quality as well. Yeah, this is one of the more rougher roads I'm going to be on, and this is already way more plush. I'm not sure if this particular model has a mag ride on it. Who cares what this thing honestly has on it? But I'm just saying, MagRide is a phenomenal technology, man. That's kind of what they're using today. That's exactly what they're using today, just a more advanced version of it, of course. I'm very interested. I'm going to test out some of that handling here, actually, but I'm sure that's going to be fun. But this, honestly, like the S classes of its time, because I did drive it S500 of the time as well, honestly feels very similar to this. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not far off from this. I will say, obviously, the LS430 is definitely the more legitimate luxury car of this era. That's for sure. But it's just the charm, man. Like this old school Cadillac American car charm. It's just unbeatable. Again, this is one of those cars that you buy with your heart and not with your head. But I just went over a lot of just trash, and it handled it great, man. Like railroad bumps, all that stuff. I'm not even noticing it. It's so pillowy. Like the DTS did ride good, but not this well. Oh yeah, she definitely likes to roll for sure. This is like literally like driving around in a Serta mattress, basically. That's definitely not what this particular model likes to do, but the DTS definitely would have handled that a lot better. Who the hell cares? I mean, DHS, DTS, just get whatever the hell you want. As long as it's cheap, it doesn't really matter. The most important thing is just don't get the regular DeVille. A lot of people are very upset with the regular DeVilles. You know, it doesn't have like the real leather or like a real woods, some kind of Zucchini wood or something, like some nonsense. I don't know what it exactly comes with, but I just went over one of the worst bumps right there. This thing soaked it up so well. So if you just want a cheap daily, you understand you're getting Northstar reliability, you're getting an extremely quiet and comfortable car that is of the quality of typical flagship cars of this time and era. So yeah, you'll be impressed with this as a pure, like, nice riding luxury car. You're gonna like it for that, but just understand in the interior segment, you're not really getting the epitome of ride quality or anything like that. And it's not the fastest thing in the world either, but it's naturally aspirated. It's a V8. Cut the mufflers off, have some fun with it. But let's go ahead and let's talk about this interior now, shall we? Okay, so now that we're stopped here, we're kind of done driving the car. That was fun, wasn't it? Let's talk about this interior. I mean, again, there's not a whole lot to talk about with this car. This is more of a comical purchase that you're going to do, but whatever. Let's talk about a few things here. So, obviously, fit and finish is not the best in here, but I will give it this. The DTS that I drove was total trash. See, if you go back and you look at that review, oh my gosh, man, that thing was rattled out like crazy. Every little piece of this, a lot more solid. There's actually not a huge amount of creaks and rattles when I was driving this car. It's another thing because this car is so much more solid. I guess for like this luxury model, like this DHS, they kind of made the quality better on it. I don't know what it is. I guess all these cars are different based on the way the previous owner treats it. But yeah, with 160,000 miles, this is better than you would expect, honestly. Here's the thing. This thing is actually loaded with a bunch of features. It's got the Bose audio system, which I believe is about a 275 watt system. It doesn't sound terrible, but you know, compared to today's standards, it's not the best, but you know, it actually gets the job done. You know what I'm saying? You got the column mounted shifter, not my favorite, but you know, it's part of the charm, right? You got more of a digital dash kind of floating design thing going on, some kind of liquid display, you know, whatever that is. It's got like this twilight function here. You got your headlight control. It's got one touch up and down windows for all 4 windows. It's nice. And you got memory seats, 10-way adjustable seats, heated and cooled seats. So that's pretty nice. And you got heated seats in the back as well. So that's what I'm saying. This thing is actually full of a lot of features. So if you got like 4 or 5 grand just laying around to blow, it's a fun little daily, honestly. It's got a lot of little features in here. I'm using the heated seats right now. Dude, this thing is getting hot as hell, actually. So I'm very surprised by that. And that's very nice. This thing, that definitely works. All these functions absolutely work. So that's great. No infotainment, obviously, you know, very easy to access kind of HVAC system. You got your own little display right there, which is nice. You got your audio control systems here, which is kind of, you know, some of the buttons here are kind of, you know, deteriorated a little bit, but it's nothing, it's not a big deal, honestly. And you have plenty of space in here, of course. I'm just naturally sitting closer to the wheel, but you can really put the seats down low. You can be like 12 feet tall and fit in this thing. That's not an issue. Again, you put this thing up, you got yourself a little 3-seater up front, 3-seater in the back. So six seats overall, but underneath there is actually your center armrest. Well, your armrest is what you kind of put down, but you got some space down here as well. So there's that. Fold this thing out, got your cup holders. Interesting design, but okay. Got a decent amount of space in the glove box as well, so there's that. And you don't have a sunroof with this particular model, but that kind of helps with the rigidity, makes the car a little bit more solid, kind of like this carpeted, kind of soft feeling material up top here, but you kind of, you know, do one of these. You got sun coming in from the side, and then you kind of block the thing from the front. So you got 2 sun visors. I know like the straight pipes would go nuts for that, so there you go. But not a whole lot of door pocket space, but again, you know, the seats here are extremely comfortable, very couch-like, and you kind of dip into the seats, of course, very much like a lazy boy, honestly. But they've held up pretty decently well with 160,000 miles. I believe this is the actual real leather, because this is in fact the DHS model. So there you go, man. I mean, it's a pretty functional interior in here, but again, you don't buy it for like any of this. You buy it because it's cool, it's swaggy, it's got a weird type of prestige associated with it, and it's got a million% worth of charm to it as well. That's why you buy this thing, honestly. And let's talk about the rear seats. I mean, honestly, it's not a plethora of space, but you got plenty of space back there. Don't worry about it. And again, you really sink into those seats. You kind of have like this manual adjusted kind of sun blocker, or in this case, peasant blocker, but I guess we're all just peasants, right? And you got yourself a little armrest back there as well, HVAC, and like I mentioned, heated seats as well. But the kicker is the trunk, dude. So much space back there, but it's not a super tall trunk opening, but it's really long, really flat. It's amazing. You shouldn't have any issues with practicality. You do have a spare tire back there as well. But yeah, this thing is definitely meant to carry some bodies, actually. That's for sure. 6 inside the cabin, and probably fit 2 more in the trunk, if you know what I mean. But yeah, this is interesting little car. Again, please be smart. I mean, if you're like a younger kid or something like that, I wouldn't really recommend it unless mommy and daddy are gonna like pay for this thing. I don't know what your situation is, but I would suggest you having some disposable income, like 4 or 5, maybe 10 grand to blow on this thing, or instead come to this dealership, buy it with a warranty. That probably would be the best choice if you're interested in a vehicle like this. So yeah, man, that's my little look at the DHS. It's not a super in-depth look or anything like that. You can also look at my DTS review as well, but fun car. If you're an owner, let me know how it's held up for you. I mean, are you a super passionate Cadillac person? Are you gonna go nuts in the forums after you're gonna see this review, or are you an owner that just bought it for fun, like I suggested, and you're just kind of tooling around in it? I mean, let me know, how has it held up for you? So with that pretty much concludes this review, and the next review will be posted on this end screen here, so I'll see you there.